What is going on, y'all? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here to bring you 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k once again. This time we are diving into the lore on Lord Kaldor Draigo, the Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights, and perhaps the Silver Knight of Slaanesh. Now, we did cover Draigo a long time ago. He was one of the first lores we ever did on the channel. So now that he's got a little bit of more lore to him with the new 8th edition codex, we're going to dive right back into his lore. Now, Draigo is one of my favorite characters in all of 40k. I'd probably put him at number 2 or number 3. And I do have him for my Grey Knights, and he is a beast. He's a boss. He is pretty much as OP as you can get. That makes sense to his lore, because, he is a Grand Master of the Grey Knights, which the Grey Knights are already badasses in and of themselves. So with that being said, guys, let's dive into this guy's awesome lore. Now, the tale of Kaldor Draigo truly began during the demonic incursion of the world of Acrolum. Makar the Reborn had led forth a demonic army from the realm of chaos, and would be satisfied with nothing less than the ruin of not only Acrolum, but the entire Vidar sector. It was inevitable that the Grey Knights would stand against such a threat. Together with 9 regiments of Imperial Guard and Space Marines from the Astro Knights and Flesh Tearers chapter, the Third Brotherhood of Grey Knights, in whose ranks Draigo fought, descended upon the world. What awaited was one of the most terrible battles of the century. There can be little doubt that if the Grey Knights had not been there, Acrolum would have surely fallen. The tide was only turned by their daring strike against Makar's warped fortress. It was here that Draigo himself, a freshly ennobled battle brother, made a name for him. It was Draigo who dealt the death blow to Makar, and so cast the demonic horde back into the warp. But the demon clung to life long enough to place a vengeful curse upon his slayer. Victory is yours this day, mortal, but know that if ever you set foot upon this world again, you and all who follow you shall walk with damnation for 10 millennia. This victory on Acrolum saw Draigo acclaimed with the rank of Justicar, the first of many such promotions. For 2 centuries, Draigo served his chapter and emperor with unfailing distinction. He earned honors and glory unsurpassed by any Grey Knight before him, save perhaps Janus himself, foremost of the founders whose deeds had shaped the Imperium in its darkest times. He became Supreme Grand Master in the late 41st millennium, following the slaughter of the previous chapter master at the hands of the demon Primarch Mortarion. And in the same battle he carved his forebearer's name upon Mortarion's rotting heart, an insult that the demon has never forgotten. The defeat of the demonic Primarch was quickly tempered by the dark visions of the prognosticars. Draigo's ascension to Supreme Grand Master had disturbed the path of fate, though none could foresee the consequences that it was to come. 2 centuries after Draigo's victory on Acrolum, an astropathic distress beacon brought news to Titan that Acrolum had been invaded by demons once again. Upon learning of this, Draigo knew without a doubt that Makar had been back, and this was the Demon Prince's attempt to bring true to his curse. Having been so determined, Draigo gave word forbidding his chapter to involve themselves with Acrolum, lest others fall prey to the doom that was his burden alone to bear. A duty his battle brothers bore unwillingly, though, to his knowledge none disobeyed. Yet the world was not to be abandoned to its fate. Draigo took ship to Acrolum, there to meet his unfolding destiny alone. So it was that Draigo, Lord of the Grey Knights, came once again to Acrolum. He spoke few words, yet his grim purpose was plain, to behold as he trod old battlefields, reawakened to fresh slaughter. At the siege of Castle Gorseth, it was Draigo who unleashed the Psyflame that swept the demons away, and he who struck down the plague-rotten abomination that commanded the assault. In the Treberin Valley, it was Draigo who held rearguard in the narrowest part of the pass, holding the baying hordes of madness at bay, while the Cadian 912th fell back. Survivors of the retreat recount that Draigo held the rock-strewn corridor for 2 days, never once missing a blow, nor taking a backward step. It would have been hard to judge which side held Lord Draigo in the greatest dread. The demons, for the crippling losses he had dealt upon their kind, were the soldiers and officers of the Imperial Guard, who saw only a silent brute whose armor was slick with the blood of slain hellspawn. The confrontation between Draigo and Makkar took place upon the pinnacle of Shadow Peak, before the swirling warp rift from which the Demon Prince drew his unholy power. As Imperial Guardsmen battled against the braying demon hordes, Draigo sought his enemy of old, for he knew Makkar's death would end the demon's plans of conquest, just as it had so many years ago. At the edge of the rift they battled, the knight and the demon, each using every tactic at their command to break the other's guard. The battlefield rang to the sound of their titanic duel, to the clamorous strike of Nemesis' sword upon demonic blade, of silvered steel upon warp metal. The demon prince spat curses and insults at Draigo, but his words and sorceries could find no purchase. Again and again Draigo summoned the sanctifying flame, yet Makkar merely laughed at the charring of his own flesh, and Draigo could not keep pace with this adversary forever. Makkar's blade glowed darkly with warp flame, and he unleashed a blow mightier than any that had preceded it. The demon blade struck home with a dull crack, shattering the Nemesis sword halfway down its length, and driving the Grey Knight to one knee. Makkar bellowed with victory, and brandished his blade for the final blow. However, Draigo was not yet spent. Roaring his own battle cry, he rose up and thrust his sword's severed shard deep into Makkar's black heart. With that one blow, Draigo delivered Acrolem for the second time. As death throes racked Makkar's body, so too did they begin to tear at the warp portal he had summoned. The rift's baleful energies began to disperse, and one by one the demons of his army faded into nothingness. Yet before the portal closed completely, Makkar had one final act of vengeance. With the last of his strength, the demon prince cast his talons around Draigo's throat, and heaved the Grey Knight into the collapsing rift. So did Kaldor Draigo pass out of the mortal world, and into legend. The tale of Kaldor Draigo did not end that day, as many supposed, for he survived this passage into the realm of chaos. Lesser men would have been driven insane by their arrival at the domain of the Chaos Gods, where damnation lurks upon every path. Yet Draigo's mind had long been hardened to the madness and seductions of chaos, and he somehow endured in his land, where no other man could. For an uncounted age, Draigo wandered that terrible, ever-shifting landscape. His path was strewn by demons who sought to slay him, or seduce him into darkness. Yet through bitter struggle, Draigo overcame each one of them. Atop the Blood Falls, where the acrid ichor of Khorne's fallen champion tumbles endlessly into the void, Draigo slew the great bloodthirstier Kar Voth. With cleansing fire he drove demonic taint from the beast's great axe, and he used the molten remains to reforge his sword, sundered in battle with Makkar the Reborn so long ago. He unleashed sanctified flame again amongst the writhing jungles of Nurgle's domain, and for a long time the gusting warp winds that buffeted him carried a charcoal stench that tortured the screaming demonic vegetation. On a journey through the whispering meadows, 6 sisters, the chosen handmaidens of Slaanesh, sought to tempt Draigo with promises of glory, power, and all the myriad riches desired by mortal flesh and spirit. But their words could find no lasting purchase upon his soul, and he scattered the demonette's dismembered remains amongst the alabasta grasses. At the gates of the inevitable city, the Lord of Change Makachin offered Draigo a path homewards, but in reply the Grey Knight smote the city walls and left the bird demon entombed amongst the ruins. However, the mortal world was not yet done with Lord Draigo. When the prophet of Justero forged an alliance with the demon Nakari, he drew a portion of the realm of chaos into the mortal world, and Draigo was drawn through along with it. So was Draigo briefly reunited with his chapter, for a brotherhood had arrived on Justero to combat Nakari's threat. Draigo was clearly long adrift in time, for he did not recognize these warriors, yet they embraced him as their brother, and fought alongside him to cast down the mad prophet of Justero, and banish the demonic allies. Alas, Draigo's victory was a hollow one, for when the gateway closed, the Grey Knight found himself drawn through the rift and trapped again within the warp. He had helped bring about the deliverance of Justero, but he could not save himself. Such has been Draigo's fate ever since, to walk the realm of chaos for unknowable periods of time, on occasion taking his eternal battle into the mortal world for brief spans before freshly being jailed upon his victory. Since the great rift toward the Imperium asunder, Kaldor Draigo has found his way back into real space more and more frequently. Some of the Grand Masters believe that as the Cetectrix Maledictum shredded the veil between reality and the warp, so did it weaken the bonds that tethered Draigo to the Chaos realm. Others believe that the forces of chaos that occulted the Supreme Grand Master's visions are now dispersed across dimensions, and thus Draigo can perceive the needs of those he leads across the vastness of the galaxy. Regardless of reason, one thing is certain. Draigo has appeared to aid his Grey Knights multiple times since the opening of this rift. He has been ever witnessed fighting in different war zones on opposite sides of the galaxy. Perhaps the opening of the rift will allow his return, or perhaps it will seal his fate forever. The prognosticators are divided on this matter. Draigo himself does not spend his time musing over such issues. He uses what little time he has hunting down the foul spawn of the rift has regurgitated. Chief amongst his quarries is his enemy of old, the demonic Primarch Mortarion, the murderer of his predecessor. And there you go, guys. That is the lore on the Supreme Grandmaster Draigo. OP, right? So this guy alone, when he was just a battle brother, he beat down a demon prince. Now that's a feat right in and of itself. And then he comes back and beats down that same demon prince with his sword being broken. Now that's another feat. And then he takes down Mortarion, and he freaking writes his name on Mortarion's flesh as a F you to Mortarion. Like, come on, like, he's taking down demonic Primarchs at this point. And then he goes inside of Chaos and he starts wrecking shit in there. This guy is just OP. That one instance where he's a bloodthirster? Yeah, a bloodthirster. So he kills a bloodthirster, uses his sanctic flame to melt the bloodthirster's axe, and then reforges his sword. Like, come on, what else do you need? But yeah, speaking of his sword, let's talk about the Titan sword for a bit. The relic of the earliest days of the Imperium, the Titan sword, has been entrusted to the Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights since records began. Stories of the Force Blade give it many names: the Mind's Edge, Foebane, and Life Drinker, to name just a few. Legends say the Emperor forged the blade for a favored general during the Unification Wars on Terra, teaching him how to use his mind to trigger its terrible powers. During the Great Crusade, it had then passed into the hands of his champions, spilling alien blood on hundreds of worlds as mankind reclaimed the stars. When Malcador the Sigillite took the first Grey Knights to Titan, one of the relics he carried with him was rumored to be this ancient Force sword. Along with his pure genetic legacy and psychic power, it was one of the Emperor's gifts to the newly founded chapter. Renamed the Titan sword by Janus, the first Supreme Grand Master, the blade must be psychically attuned to each new master. Only once it is keyed to the mind of the wielder can its true killing power be called upon. The Titan sword is more than just a weapon. It is a badge of office of the Supreme Grand Master, a potent symbol of the chapter's sacred duty and the Emperor's fury given form. Every lord of the chapter has been the warden of this blade, and through many years have used weapons in battle. The Titan sword's keen blade has slain more foul demons than any other weapon. So there you go, guys, lore on Draigo's awesome sword, which he freaking reforged. That's badass. So now that Draigo has been coming more and more into basically our space, you know, the real world, the Materium, I have a feeling that he is going to come face to face with Mortarion. Now, as we all know, Mortarion has been released, or at least his image has been released. So now we know he's coming, as well as the new Plague Codex. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see another battle between Mortarion and Draigo. Maybe this time Mortarion will get the upper hand, since he's got a lot to back up. I mean, he got his butt whooped by Draigo, and not only that, like, Draigo basically branded him. So yeah, he's got a lot of hatred towards him. But we'll see what happens with that, because obviously Gilliman's going to want some of this action. So again, guys, that's all the lore I've got on one of my favorite characters in all of 40k, the OP Lord Kaldor Draigo. Let me know which one's your favorite character. Let me know what you guys think about this character, because obviously it's got Matt Ward written all over him. But anyway, that's all I've got. If you guys want to support One Mind Syndicate, head on over to our Patreon page. A simple $1 a month gives you some exclusive videos, as well as creepypastas and whatnot, so that's always fun. Also, we do have a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Facebook page, so check those out for more 40k goodness. As always, guys, I'm the Sound Alchemist, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.